Time is tough. But every cloud has a silver lining. Together, we need to develop a positive vision to address challenges and difficulties our businesses face.
In order to face the current and future challenges of this industry, we have to work together. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Challenges for Caterers, episode 5. I'm Shalim Hussain. In the last few episodes and few programs, we have talked about online ordering, we have talked about the staff shortages. Today, we have a show which is full of women, and we are going to talk about women entrepreneurs. Recently, in the local papers and the national media, we have seen that during this recent recession, whilst the living standard of the whole British public were declining and going down, however, the living standard of the Bangladeshi population actually increased. And a major factor for this is the rise of the Bangladeshi women who are now actively taking roles in working and in businesses. So today's program is all about the Bangladeshi women in business, and that's what we're going to concentrate on today. I'm very lucky today to have the panel full of women, apart from on my right, Dr. Paltu Rajan Datta. Welcome again to my show. Next to, who's a researcher, and you have seen him before on my show. Next to Dr. Datta, I have Mrs. Dilara Khan, Chairman of Women Chamber of Commerce, Bangladesh Women of Chamber of Commerce. And on my left, I have Councillor, on my far left, sorry, Councillor Aisha Chaudhry, who's an entrepreneur here today, not in the capacity as a councillor.
Wonderful.
I have been minded to make sure I state that. And I have Saida Chaudhry, who is a community activist for women of Bangladeshi society. So we're going to break the program down in 3 segments. Today's discussion will, number 1 segment will be the entrepreneurships and facts and overview. Number 2, the challenges, and number 3, the response and solutions. So without further ado, I just want to bring Dr. Paltu Rajan Datta to our first discussion, and I want to talk about the women, the Bangladeshi women who can come in to our business. And I want to still go back to the restaurant sector as I can, because this is challenges for caterers. So how many women are coming in to this sector, and why they should be coming in, and how they should be helping?
Thank you for this question. A very interesting question. I think when you talk about the Bangladeshi diaspora or British Bangladeshi female entrepreneurs, we have to first look at some of the salient issues. What does it mean, entrepreneurship? What is entrepreneur? And also I would like to see that the status of ethnicity. And within this ethnic status is the Bengali community. Now anyone actually, the state of being entrepreneurs is referred as entrepreneurship. And anyone actually start their business taking the risk of financial burden, and also with the aim of making profit, they become the entrepreneur. So means the 3 salient elements: they're taking the risk, bringing the business, running the business with the aim of making profit. Now when we say that Bangladeshi female is the community, we have to understand, or it should not be assumed that all the Bangladeshis living in the UK are homogeneous. Bear in mind, we have the various, you see that the phases of a regional origin coming from Bangladesh, the whole diaspora, also in the UK, looking at the socioeconomic status and various classes. But its good thing is that if you look at some of the global context or national context, even the local context, some of the salient statistics, as I said, my organization, we have been doing extensive research on female entrepreneurship and in overall the entrepreneurship, not only in the UK, South Africa, Australia, and so on. If I give you some statistics in terms of poverty, education, and self-employment. Now, when we talk about that ethnic minority is entrepreneurship or community, we talk normally Afro-Caribbean or African origin or Southeast Asian. Now Southeast Asian, namely Bangladesh, Pakistan and India. In relation to poverty, Indian or is that diaspora is less than 50% living under poverty, while Pakistani 60%, Bangladeshi 70%.
So we have
Self-employment.
Yeah, let me just bring to that, come into that. So entrepreneurship was once considered largely for domain for men, but each year we see more and more women in the UK set out to in the journey of their own businesses. An entrepreneur is a person who obviously, as you said, take risks and goes into their own business. But today we see in the mainstream, we see women taking the lead. If I look at the head of EasyJet is a woman. TalkTalk, we've seen a couple of weeks ago, is a woman. So women are coming out, but again, we're lagging behind. We're lagging behind the Indians. We're lagging behind the Pakistanis, as you just said. So this then brings me into Mrs. Dilara Khan, you're the chairperson of the Bangladeshi Women Chamber of Commerce. How do you see this coming? Is more women coming into the trade now? Into business? And how about our catering trade especially? I mean, it's all run by men. Is it all going to change?
I think if we slightly move away from, I'll just, in terms of my position, I'm the chair of the British Bangladesh Chamber of Women Entrepreneurs. So I think it's very much a key issue for us. And I think if we move slightly away from the catering industry, which is dominated by the male co-partners, I think in terms of myself and why I found with certain colleagues of mine the organization is that there was an absolute need for an organization such to be created, because until 2013 there wasn't an organization which was looking particularly for women entrepreneurship and motivating and creating a platform where women can come together and talk about challenges of women entrepreneurship, particularly from the British Bangladeshi community, and also in terms of support mechanisms, so linking startups, linking women entrepreneurs or to be women entrepreneurs with relevant agencies such as financial institutions, training organizations, and basically getting them to understand the know-how. Because I think.
So when did you start this organization?
2013, June 2013.
And how many women entrepreneurs have you got in the organization as
members?
In the,
as well as our directors, we're all women entrepreneurs and different levels, different organizations. I have my own business. Okay. Our members are also, and we haven't restricted our membership just for already existing entrepreneurs, but aspired entrepreneurs as well, because I felt it was very important that we have that lenience.
So how many entrepreneurs have you got as members?
As members, we have already 320 plus members.
320. Are they all London-based or they're national?
Across the country. Across the country.
How many percent of the 320 are in London, and how many outside
London? I would say at least 280.
So basically, you are almost 85% London-based.
Yes.
You have nothing outside London apart from friends and.
Nothing outside. We have.
If you look at only 15%.
15%. It's a new organization in terms of membership and going back to how challenging it is, even for an organization.
Yeah, but how do you find
like ourselves?
Yeah, but how do you find? I mean, as we know, as Bengali, I mean, we are used to seeing our mothers and sisters in the house, in the kitchen, cooking. Don't attack me. I'm just saying. I was just saying that that's how it's been.
Yeah.
And how is it now? I mean, how are you finding these women now going into businesses and want to progress themselves forward?
It's part and parcel of transformation, and I think it's inevitable that this would take part. And
does this mean we all have to cook now in the house?
Not necessarily. If you enjoy cooking, you know, I mean, obviously being from the catering industry, it's ironic that it comes from you, because
all right, I'm just
all our chefs are in the industry are men.
I did not say that. I don't have to. I said, doesn't mean
all
we
our
have to
chefs are. Most definitely, if you enjoy cooking, why not? And if you want
I don't enjoy cooking at all.
If you don't, then it's your choice. But a lot of men do, and I think as a profession, totally in your industry, almost all of our chefs.
But in a serious note, as I said, as I was saying, maybe I should come to Councillor Aisha Chaudhry. As I was saying, the quality of life for our Bengali community in the UK over the last 6 to 7 years has improved, and that's mainly due to women going out to work and having extra disposable income in the family. So we've crossed the barriers. We're now going out to work, and these women are now. But if I go back, if you don't mind, yeah, I'll come back to you in a minute. But if I remember, when I came to this country back in 1985, I saw women having bags of clothes delivered to the houses in East London, and they were swinging them and taking them back. So it's not something that we're doing new. The women has been at it for a long time. they were doing in the house, now they've gone out. Is that what's happening?
Absolutely. Well, let me say something about women of nowadays and past. But I would say, even if you talk about 50 years ago, I would say a mother or a wife is a businesswoman, is a politician, is a doctor, because when if she's able to take care of her husband and kids, she is challenging and multitasking, because when the child is not well, it's her who is taking care of. When the child is going to the school, it's her who is sort of like maintaining everything. Now, a few minutes ago, you were talking about the men. If you enjoy cooking, you would cook. If you don't, then it's up to you. But as a woman, do I have a choice?
I enjoy eating very much.
But then, as a woman, do I have that choice that, do we have the choice that if you enjoy, you would cook? If you don't enjoy, you don't have to cook? No, I don't think so. We have to manage. If you work outside, you have to do the indoor work as well, cleaning, cooking, washing up, everything. And then you have to go out and do. So I think, and I'm sure all the audience and viewers will agree that women are multitasking. They can do indoor work as well as outside work.
Right. On that, I'd like to bring Saida Chaudhary in. So community activist, you're going around meeting all these people. How are you finding our community, the transformation of our community, especially our women?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it happening at a great extent, the transformation. I mean, Pilara just mentioned about the Chamber of Bangladeshi Chambers, and that only formed 2 years ago. So from now to 2 years ago, we've got this. And then furthermore, like you were saying about bringing bags of clothing to home.
I just remembered that.
Yeah, I mean, I've got it in my note. And I got that in my note because that's when we started. And we never liked sitting at home and doing nothing, because we are multitasking, women are. And we always want to make ourselves, shall I say, useful. And we find many ways to do it. And when our mothers came, or grandmothers, for some of us, we're fourth generation, we've always been active. And then that multiplying through the years.
I was saying that from Eurofoods, of my background, we supply to 4,000 restaurants. We do have some restaurants which are owned and run by Bangladeshi women, and they're very, very successful at what they do. And sometimes we find they're more tougher, more tough to deal with, not so easy. And because we are always trying to, when I used to be in sales, we were always trying to give respect. And a man, you can talk to him anyway. When you see women, you have to, treat with respect. And so I'll come back to you in a minute. I'll come back to you in a minute. And the women the women who go forward into businesses are better than men because they've taken that step forward, which men automatically they have it on a silver plate. But for women, it's difficult.
I think it's a phase. It's a phase about that they've overcome certain challenges, and they obviously are much more stronger personalities as a result of those challenges. So yes, it takes. I think women have to fight 100 times harder to go into a position
than men,
establish themselves. So yes, I think it's a progressive move, and certainly that's probably why that they've done their homework. They're in a position where they now seem to be.
So women have to find 1,000 times harder than men. You were saying something?
I was saying, thousands, but I think you know that better than me, because in the research it says women take likely to take more of self-employment than men, because it's easier when they have children, they're home cooking, and they can start something from home or something which they're good at, and they straight away go into it.
And that's where the sewing came in the beginning.
Yeah, in the beginning.
Okay.
So I think
we have to go to break, but before we go to break, I'd like to take one question from the audience, if I can, and then we can have a brief discussion before we move on. So, audience, hi. First of all, your name, please.
Thank you for inviting me to this event. My question is, can the panelists please give us some facts and statistics about the current situation with regards to Bangladeshi female entrepreneurs and businesses in the UK?
Great. Well, Dilara, this is
yeah,
please.
I think I would obviously move some of that to our research.
Yes, I will,
but I think from my knowledge, and that's going back to why we established our organization, is that we're currently working on, and this has taken us almost 2.5 years, that this is how challenging it is even to get through to our women, the the woman population, and particularly the British Bangladeshi woman, to let them know that this is this kind of information is quite vital in order for the population to move ahead and develop. So we've been working on this project particularly for the last 2 years, and to date it hasn't completed yet because it's so difficult to get that kind of information. One is that we feel that it's necessary to have a directory, a database of British Bangladeshi women who are currently, what kind of business they're doing, their age range, the locality, the region within the UK and so forth, and what kind of business and their threshold, and in terms of market, what the position is. We're hoping that within the next 8 months we should be able to sum up this directory, and then we'll be in a position to share that, and it will be a resource for everybody.
Can I add? I
just briefly, because we do have to go to break. So if you just briefly tell us.
Very interesting question. We have to have the proper understanding about the number of people actually entering into the business. If you look at the whole population as a nutshell, the ethnic minority, they got 250,000 the small businesses, and Bangladesh in particular is 1.1% Bangladeshis entered into the business, is the statistics based on Bank of England 2001, while out of 9%, only 0.9% females are into the business. So you can actually look at the whole lot of statistics, it will give you the better insight.
Thank you, Dr. Datta. On this note, we do have to take a break. So discussion will continue. We will take more questions from the audiences into our next 2 segments. I will see you shortly after the break.
Watch Challenges for Caterers, a talk show with Shalim Hussain MBE.